1986. A single button push, a catastrophic mistake, and a city melts away. The name Chernobyl is forever etched in history, a symbol of nuclear disaster. Even today, the abandoned city of Pripyat is haunted by an invisible enemy, radiation. Welcome to All Nations History. Today, we're journeying back to that fateful April night to uncover not just the human tragedy, but the shocking and often unseen story of how this apocalypse forever changed the very DNA of the wildlife that now roams the exclusion zone. This isn't just a story about a failed reactor. It's a story of survival, mutation, and nature's resilient, yet scarred, reclamation of a poisoned land. It was supposed to be a routine safety test. In the early hours of April 26th, engineers in the control room of Chernobyl's reactor number 4 began a sequence to test the reactor's ability to power its own cooling pumps during a shutdown. It was a scenario they had practiced, a procedure designed to improve safety. But a combination of design flaws in the RBMK reactor and a series of critical human errors turned this test into a ticking time bomb. As the operators reduced the reactor's power to dangerously low levels, it became unstable. They disabled automatic safety systems to continue the test, overriding warnings that flashed across their control panels. At 1:23 a.m., the decision was made to initiate the final phase of the test. Suddenly, a massive power surge, far beyond anything the reactor was designed to handle, ripped through its core. The control rods, meant to shut down the reaction, jammed. Within seconds, two massive explosions blew the 200-ton lid of the reactor, spewing a plume of radioactive material 9 kilometers into the atmosphere. The night sky over Pripyat glowed with an eerie, beautiful, and deadly light. The test had gone catastrophically wrong, and the world was about to face its worst ever nuclear disaster. As alarms blared and the reactor core burned, the first to face the inferno were the station's firefighters. They arrived within minutes, with no knowledge of the true danger they were facing. They saw a fire, and their duty was to put it out. They climbed onto the roof of the reactor building, wading through radioactive debris, their boots sinking into molten bitumen. They were battling an invisible killer. The intense heat was one thing, but the gamma radiation was thousands of times higher than lethal levels. Within minutes, the firefighters began to feel the effects. A metallic taste in their mouths, uncontrollable vomiting, and a strange nuclear tan as the radiation burned their skin. They were heroes, fighting a blaze they couldn't possibly extinguish with water alone, all while being bombarded with deadly radiation. Of the 28 firefighters who battled the initial blaze, most would be dead within a month from acute radiation syndrome. Their sacrifice was immense, a testament to human courage in the face of an unimaginable horror. They saved the world from an even greater catastrophe by preventing the fire from spreading to the adjacent Reactor 3. But they paid the ultimate price. Their bodies so saturated with radiation, they had to be buried in sealed lead coffins. In the immediate aftermath, the Soviet government's response was one of denial and secrecy. While radioactive clouds drifted across Europe, setting off alarms in Sweden, Moscow remained silent. On state television, life was portrayed as normal. The May Day parade in nearby Kyiv went ahead as planned, with children dancing in the streets, unknowingly exposed to the radioactive fallout. The official narrative was that a minor accident had occurred and was under control. Behind the scenes, a desperate battle was being fought, but to the outside world and to its own citizens, the Kremlin offered lies. They downplayed the scale of the disaster, refusing international aid and attempting to manage the crisis in secrecy. It wasn't until weeks later, faced with undeniable evidence from other countries and mounting pressure, that the truth began to emerge. Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev finally addressed the nation, admitting the full gravity of the situation. This policy of glasnost, or openness, was ironically forced upon him by the secrecy surrounding Chernobyl. The cover-up had failed, shattering the public's trust in the government and exposing the deep-seated flaws within the Soviet system. The lie had been exposed, but for many, the truth came far too late. Today, the area around the reactor is a ghost land known as the Chernobyl Exclusion Zone, a 30-kilometer radius where human settlement is forbidden. Pripyat, the city built for the plant's workers, stands frozen in time. A decaying Ferris wheel, schoolbooks scattered on dusty floors, and personal belongings left behind in the hasty evacuation of 50,000 people. It's a haunting monument to the disaster. Drones now fly where people once walked, capturing eerie footage of a city being swallowed by nature. Trees sprout through the floors of abandoned apartments, and bustling streets. But this isn't an empty world. It has become, against all odds, a unique and paradoxical wildlife sanctuary. With humans gone, animal populations have exploded. Wolves, wild boar, elk, and deer roam the silent city streets. The rare Brazilskis horse, introduced to the zone, has thrived. But this isn't a simple story of nature's triumphant return. It's a story of life under the constant stress of radiation. Scientists studying the zone have discovered the profound and disturbing effects of long-term radiation exposure on these animals. The most famous example is the Red Forest, a pine forest near the reactor that turned a ginger-brown color and died shortly after the accident due to absorbing massive doses of radiation. But the effects go much deeper. Studies on barn swallows in the area have revealed a higher rate of genetic mutations, tumors, and physical abnormalities like deformed beaks and discolored feathers. Their lifespan is shorter, and their reproductive success is lower. Some insects have lost their color, and spiders spin bizarre, misshapen webs. Even the fungi and bacteria in the soil have adapted. Some species of fungi seem to thrive on radiation, a phenomenon known as radiotropism, where they actually grow towards radioactive sources, perhaps using the energy in a way we don't fully understand. The wolves of Chernobyl are a subject of intense study. While their population is 7 times denser inside the zone than outside, they carry high levels of radioactive particles in their bodies. Scientists are researching how their immune systems have adapted to fight off cancer, offering potential insights into human cancer treatment. The exclusion zone is a living laboratory, a stark reminder that even when humans abandon a place, our impact lingers in the very code of life. It's not a pristine wilderness, it's a contaminated one. The animals here are not symbols of nature's victory, but rather symbols of its incredible, and sometimes terrifying, ability to adapt and endure in the most hostile environments imaginable. They are a permanent, living testament to the unseen, long-lasting legacy of Chernobyl. The story of Chernobyl is far from over. It serves as a powerful and sobering lesson about the immense power we wield and the devastating consequences when that power is mishandled. The bravery of the first responders, the tragedy of the cover-up, and the strange radioactive wilderness that remains all form part of this complex legacy. If you found this journey into the heart of the exclusion zone insightful, please hit that like button to help us share these important stories. And don't forget to subscribe to All Nation History for more deep dives into the events that shaped our world. Thanks for watching.